Hey everyone, I'm Jason and I decided to do my time project on my main hobby, which is competitive Super Smash Bros. If you don't know what Smash is, it's a Nintendo fighting game with characters from a ton of different games. I've been playing Smash since I was a kid in 2008 when it came out on the Wii. I also played in 2015 on the Wii U. 2015 is when I learned about competition and tournaments, obviously due to me growing up and being aware of these things, but I didn't go to my first tournament until 2019 with the newest game in the series on the Switch. In this video, I'm going to go through my progress as a competitor to where I am today. To relate this to art, I want to say that my playstyle, or how I play the game, can be related to art. I play the game in a way that is hard to replicate, which I see as art. Other people also agree with me.
But I think the upside is really interesting, like the mechanics that you have to study in order to be effective at this
Ooh,
character.
and speaking of mechanics, I mean, you're absolutely right. So just to point this out, jBone is a mechanical master. Started up with Ice Climbers, plays Peach, has all the 0 deaths down. The clips are all.
I'm going to play clips in chronological order in the background as I'm speaking about my experience. I went to my first tournament in July of 2019. It was a tournament hosted on a patio of a local Starbucks in Sarasota called the Salty Key. I went in with an open mind and desire to get better while also wanting to do good in the tournament. I went 1-2, which means I won 1 game and I lost 2, and since it's double elimination, you have a chance after losing once, but I did okay for my standards back then. The big thing about that day is I found a great group of people that I consider some of my best friends now, since most of us all have the same geeky interests. They invited me to the Discord server to stay in touch and to have updates about future tournaments. I would go to every Salty Key because I love the feeling of being a competitor even if I didn't do the greatest. I would go home and practice basically every day, playing online with friends I met at the tournament or in training mode practicing my tech and combos. The character I played was Ice Climbers, which is a very technical and combo heavy character which I always found appealing. I got better quick and started taking sets off of people that I would always lose to, which was a boost in my head to keep practicing, and I did just that. I got more involved in the community and learned that there's a community in Tampa. My friends and I would carpool to their events to see how we would compete with people we don't practice with. At local tournaments, you're likely to play someone you play with all the time, so you know what to expect in the game. But if you travel and you play new people, this will teach you a lot about how you play and how others play, which makes you better over time. Obviously, in 2020, COVID hit and shut everything down around us. But right before lockdown, there was a big major tournament in Orlando that I got to attend called CEO Dreamland. This would be my first of many. I attended and played with a 2-win and 2-loss record. This didn't affect me because it was my first major and I was more excited about experiencing the event more than my placement. I got to watch all the top players that attended live, which was super hype and made me want to play and practice more. But due to lockdown, tournaments didn't come back after that. We all migrated to Wi-Fi. That was our main way of getting competitive practice. It sucks because Wi-Fi isn't the same as local play. There's major delay and lag in the game that is reaction based. I started streaming my practice sessions and Wi-Fi tournaments because what else am I supposed to do if I can't go outside? Around this time I started playing a new character, that being Princess Peach. Lockdown was the perfect time to start practicing and learning how she worked due to her being the most technical and hardest character in the game. But as I said before, that's appealing to me. My friends and I around summertime ran small tournaments at each other's houses during lockdown to get a feel of local play again. These tournaments kept us grinding to get better, and they were an opportunity for me to start using Peach seriously. The outcome was better than I expected, and I kept practicing and pushing with her. I couldn't wait for lockdown to end and tournaments to start coming back. 2021 is when tournaments started coming back. The first Florida local came back in April and it was in Fort Myers, which was fun to go to because I was going to FGCU in the fall. So I got to get experience with players that I was going to be playing with consistently. My first tournament back with Peach, I played the best I've ever played. I beat people that would beat me on Wi-Fi and the emotions were rushing through me.
He air-dodged down? Oh, I think that's it.
And just like that, jBone takes it 2-1.
Amazing.
My tournament run ended when I had to play a former top 15 player in the world, but I made it hard for him.
Yo, my God!
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
This obviously boosted my confidence for what's to come. 2 weeks later, there was a major in Tallahassee named InfinityCon. I went in with an ego, sad to say, and got humbled by going 1-2. That's just how it is being a competitor. You have your good days and you have your bad days. Tournaments all around Florida started opening back up after InfinityCon. We would travel to Tampa, Fort Myers, and Orlando. In July, we decided to try and get Salty Key back up and running, and we succeeded. We had our main tournament back, so it was time to start getting serious. Since I moved down to Fort Myers in August, I got to go to different tournaments with different players every week. Using Peach early on, I got okay placements at these tournaments compared to my placements before COVID. I would top 8 very consistently, and I was 6th in Sarasota and 10th in Fort Myers the first season back. The thing about playing Peach, since she's so challenging, some days you are playing bad and it's hard to consistently execute what I needed to. So at times I would switch over to a character that I was playing with for fun, that character being Steve from Minecraft. Steve was a different type of character compared to everyone else in the cast, but he fit what I wanted in a character, and when I would play him, I was winning more than I would with Peach. This is because Steve is the best character in the game. I played a mix of Steve and Peach for the rest of the year, and my placement at tournaments and on the power rankings was consistent. In December was CEO, another major in Florida. We obviously attended, and I surprised myself with how well I was playing. I only used Peach, and I got a win on one of the best players in Miami. The event itself was fun, and I enjoyed every second of it like I did in 2020. But doing well in bracket just adds even more to that feeling. I placed 129th out of 777. Going 5 wins and 2 losses. When 2022 came around, it was the same at the locals. I would place top 8 or top 3 and have a good time with my friends playing the game that we love. My playstyle evolved and I started hitting some crazy combos and clips in bracket, but sadly Salty Key came to an end in February. Luckily, a small ramen shop named Moto Neko reached out and showed interest in hosting us. We took it and named it Moto Mayhem. It's still our main tournament today. Around this time was when I really started abusing how good Steve is. I started using him more often than Peach to the point where there was really no point in the try to play Peach anymore, which benefited me as a competitor and wanting to win. In May, my friend and I took a road trip to Georgia to attend a major. It's still the longest distance I've willingly drove just for a tournament, but it was a fun trip. I did okay in bracket, losing to 2 top 10 Georgia players and beating 3 other players, placing 129th out of 666. The next major was right around the corner in June, which was CEO again. To practice for these majors, they let you know who you're going to be playing a week before so you could prepare accordingly. But me, I start overthinking. Going into CEO, I was nervous about my round 2. I knew I could beat him and I should have, but due to my nerves, he took it over me, rightfully so. In losers bracket, I won 3 sets back to back to back while being angry about my loss earlier.
He is so tilted. Like, he is just.
Okay, congratulations.
What do you have to say to your fans?
Jason, good stuff.
How are you still losing when I'm tilted? I made it to the second phase for the first time, and I took this opportunity to calm my mindset down to make sure I come back the next day better than I did the day before. I then went on to beat 2 more people, one player being ranked top 10 in North Carolina, then losing to the same person I lost to at the last CEO. I placed 49th out of 651. Surprisingly, I still have never won a tournament around this time, but at one of the Moto Mayhems I finally won. Now it's nothing crazy to me, but it was a huge stepping stone for what's to come. Throughout the rest of the year, I was attending one tournament in Sarasota, Fort Myers, and Tampa almost every week to the point where I was top 10 in every single region due to my consistency in getting top 8, top 3, or first place. In October was another major, Let's Make Moves Miami. This was a brand new tournament, so I had to attend, especially since it's in Florida. I had a good time with my friends and got to play against the best player in the world. I wasn't happy with how my tournament run went, but my main goal was to play him. I got 129th out of 467, going 2-2, beating a very solid player that was projected to beat me. 2023 was probably my biggest year yet locally. Something clicked in my head that would just let me win games that I needed to, and I only lost to people that were right around my skill level. From January until March, I was top 3ing or winning every tournament I attended. I was ranked 1st in Sarasota for the first time, 3rd in Fort Myers, and 5th in Tampa, which was a big milestone for me. But due to Steve being super good, regions all around the world started banning Steve. The big ban including Let's Make Moves Miami 2023. This affected me obviously, so I had to switch back to Peach for the time being, and my placements were up to my standards. but this didn't affect my mental in any way because I knew I could beat people with Steve even if I lost with Peach. And if I win with Peach, I don't need Steve to win. This little era was annoying to deal with because I hate losing, but as a competitor, I had the sportsmanship and just dealt with it. CEO was rolling around again in June and they had Steve legal, so we started unbanning him specifically for me to practice for that tournament. But I didn't do as good as I wanted to, and I lost to someone I normally lose to when I go to Tampa tournaments. I got 65th out of 513 going 5-2. At the end of that Sarasota season, I was still first even without Steve for the first half, but Steve was then banned again for Let's Make Moves Miami 2023. At this time, I would go to tournaments for fun and not really worry about my placement due to me not being able to play my best character, but at times I did do really well and I finally won a tourney going all Peach. A new major in Orlando named Cirque had Steve legal though. I went to that major with little practice on Steve and I placed 33rd out of 174, only losing to 2 top 5 players in the world and going close with one of them. Let's Make Moves Miami was my first major without Steve and I wanted to do really good with Peach. I did better than I did the year before with Steve. I beat some okay players and I lost to some solid ones that I feel I could have beaten with Steve, but it's okay because they were close sets. I got 129th out of 387. Steve was then unbanned again after Let's Make Moves Miami and I started winning consistently again and got first in Sarasota the first full season back. This now takes us into 2024 where I go to tourneys and either win or lose. My drive to play and practice has come down to how much I'm enjoying the game, and since I'm a busier guy now I can't travel to Tampa as much as I want to. I still beat really good players, but I could lose the people I should beat. I feel this is a growth as a player for not caring too much to the point where it affects my mindset, but also caring enough to the point where I want to be a threat to people if they see me in their bracket path.